So, proven winner plants. We are a proven winner destination, meaning we grow the proven winner plants, we sell them, and we promote them. And proven winner is a branding. The company will purchase the rights to particular plants, brand it, they advertise it, and it's giving money back to the people who actually um, hybridize and develop these plant materials. I give an example of years ago in Canada, we've actually got some strong developers of things like lilacs and that. Those people spent their entire lives and got absolutely no money for all the work that they did. So, Proven Winners is sort of taking back a little bit of the development, and people are now getting royalties and payment. That aside, I decided to divide it up into the three most common sort of questions and plant groupings that we get here. So we've got, of course, heat tolerance, heat and dry. So now I don't have everything on the list. We've kind of sold a few of the items out, but we've got a good selection. And this includes perennials, flowers, and some shrubs. And these, for the heat resistant, these are plants that can take full sun, superheat, and survive in fairly dry areas, which is nice. It doesn't mean that you can avoid watering them, but it's, if you forget or go away for the weekend, you can be assured that they're going to come back. So in the annual department, we've got Gomphrena, Truffula Pink. So this is going to be what you would call a thriller. It's going to grow a little bit taller than your other annuals, stand up, so really good. Now for a spiller, you can do the Scaevola. It has beautiful blue flowers. It's going to get large and spreading, will cascade over your plants or cover a large area on the ground. Capia, the Millionaire. I love the names. Anyways, extremely heat tolerant. And one of my favorite, the Lantanas. Um, Lantanas can actually form year after year. They're very hardy. They almost form a shrub. They actually made hedges out of them. So this would be one plant that you could grow. You could also bring it inside into a cool room, sunny location. We found in Portugal, it was blooming in January and bloomed the whole time. So it just seems to be continuous, very tough. And the flowers usually will come and they age and they change color. Now for, this is the annual sedum. We have lots of sedums that are perennial. This is fernleaf gold. There's also lime zinger. They just keep growing. They'll cascade over walls and they maintain this really dense habit and bright limey yellow. This is false baptisia, or it's baptisia, false indigo. And it comes in a range of different colors. The proven winner one is Blueberry Sunday, and it'll come out. They fix nitrogen in the soil, so it's a great plant for adding back to your soil. They grow probably 2 to 3 feet, very hardy. They form a small clump coming up and just get covered in blossoms. It is a native to North America, so it tolerates the wind and it moves in the wind. Great plant, full sun, you'd be happy with it. Now for a lot of little ground cover is the ground hug. Sometimes you see it as groundhog, ground hug. They seem to, I think, change the name, but it's an aronia, so it'll mound very nicely, shiny leaves, and it gets clusters of white flowers early in the spring, so it attracts the little pollinators. The leaves will turn bright red in the fall, and they do get little berries. So it is a multi-season plant and it tolerates the heat. And we also have it in partial shade, so it will do double duty for you. The next group is, of course, everybody's bane, deer-resistant plants. So everybody has issues with the deer. And what you want to look for in deer-resistant plants is fragrant leaves. So we've got Monarda or bee balm here, attracts the pollinators. It's got a very strong scent, deer resistant. Now, that's not to say the deer might come and harvest it or, you know, nibble on it, but usually what they do, nibble, spit out. I don't like that. I'm never going to touch it again. So what I recommend is when you do your spring planting, you use a deer repellent from day one to discourage the deer. So they come in after you and they think, oh, I don't like the smell of this area. I'll move on to the next door neighbor's lettuce garden. So that's what you want to do. Plant deer resistant, fragrant foliage, and use a deer repellent. Common one is Bob-X. It comes usually in a liquid form, but there's also plant skid. And you have to remember that deer repellents are scent based. So they do smell. So you make sure you wear gloves, wash your clothes afterwards if you get anything on, and realize that if you put it right up against your house and then open your windows, the deer won't come inside. You don't want to do that. So you have to be aware of what the product is and how you're using it. So Perovsky or Russian sage, another plant that's very distinct and scented. In the annuals, the Cleome, Senorita Blanca, but the Cleomes are deer resistant, and Euphorbia. Now we're sold out of the small containers and I could only find it in this mixed one. So this is this white Euphorbia. And the alliums. The alliums, now the one thing, the alliums, they may nibble on them to start, but they, just like any onion, the leaves are there, but the flower is a separate stalk. And this is one of my favorite plants because it's a great pollinator attractor. This is Anise hyssop. This one is Queen Nectarine, and the Latin name is Agastache. There's a couple different colors. These will bloom all summer long. It is also a very heat tolerant plant. They're very good in the sun, in the heat. This will bloom once it gets going all summer, just covered in blossoms. It's what I call a half-hardy perennial. It puts on such a good show. Mine lasted for a couple of years and then one year it didn't come back. But I forgave it because it was such a showy plant. It always had big spikes of different colored. And this one is apricot, but this group of plants come in blues, they come in pinks, reds. So it's something to look for. So now this group is the fire-resistant plants. So there's a couple of different things that dictate plants' fire resistance or ability to come back after a fire or slow to burn. And if you look at the sedums, leaves that have fleshy leaves, they retain a lot of moisture. They are very slow to burn. So that's a good choice. Plus they're low to the ground. Plants that are lower to the ground they classify them as a better fire risk. It's the taller plants that will go up a little quicker. So things that are lower to the ground. Plants that are grown in the shade and have a lot of moisture in the leaves, things like the heucheras or coral bells. The pulmonaria, this one is pinka blue. They're early season bloomers, really pretty. And the hostas, which are later season. They all have fleshy leaves. There's lots of moisture. generally slower to the ground, and the environment that they're in is usually moister, so it's more resistant to fire. For the sunny areas, we've got Moonlight Masquerade. This is one of my favorites. We have it in the display garden. It forms a nice big clump and it starts growing. This one has pink flowers and the purple leaf. So it's a great combination. It will bloom for months and it will reseed itself a little bit so that you can, and not aggressively, but enough that you can move a few plants into different areas. Dianthus, another plant that's low to the ground. The leaves are quite thick and fleshy. And so this gives you beautiful winter color, as long as there's not snow on it, because it's semi-evergreen, and beautiful flowers. These ones are Fruit Punch Classic Coral, but any of the spreading dianthus will work really well. The salvias, along with being deer resistant, they're also fire resistant. The leaves are fairly fleshy and lots of moisture. The Superbena. Now this particular one is also very deer resistant. The verbenas, in the particular the reds and the corals, these ones you can also put in the deer resistant category. When you're planting these to be heat tolerant or any of the ones, you want to get the plants planted, sort of regular watering for the first probably 3 to 4 weeks to get rooted in really well. And the first year it is important that they get enough water. It takes about 3 years for plants to develop a strong root system. With the type of winters we've been having, which have been fairly dry with no snow cover, it wouldn't hurt to mulch newly planted perennials, with a loose mulch, something not really dense. You can dry leaves, not wet. You can use straw, and you can also use evergreen boughs, which are really nice. You can just kind of lay them off. They get air circulation, but they also protect the plant from a little bit drying out. I also recommend that you do not prune in the fall. I know some people love to go into winter cleaned up, but leaving the old dried leaves will hold the snow, and they will also slightly insulate around the root system, help keep the moisture in. And probably a good one, it marks where the plant is. A lot of times if you clean it up and then you go in there and you think, was it here or was it here? And if you're walking over the area, you could be compacting the plant. So feel free to leave a little bit of, leave the leaves and do your cleanup in the spring. They also say that the pollinators will lay their eggs in the plants. So the longer you can delay cleaning up, it will give the early pollinators a chance to hatch and go about their business. So you can delay cleanup. It's not going to hurt the plant. I know a lot of people, it's that tidiness, you want to have that immaculate garden, but it doesn't hurt to leave it through the spring. Okay, so we are in the middle of the perennial garden. So I'm going to walk around and show people all the proven winner plants. So what we've got here, these are the alliums. And I think these are Serendipity or Millennium. We've got a couple of different. So they are going to, even now before they blossom, they have a nice form. Then they're going to get the beautiful purple flower heads on them. So alliums have a great different span of bloom times. And these, what I would say, they're probably going to be late spring, early summer bloomers, which is nice. It adds to your garden. You could put chives in and these alliums and you would get a range and timing of color. So we've got right here This one is Autumn Jazz. This is a viburnum, the same thing. It likes, viburnums are amazing plants. They have generally a flat flower. They're a little bit later, but they do vary on different times. You will sometimes get beautiful fall red color, each of them a little bit different. If it has a pollinator, you will get the berries. And we've got here summer wine 9-bark. The 9-barks have really nice dark foliage, purple. It's a little bit smaller than some of the other types of the original 9-barks, quite a bit more compact grower. It's going to get a cluster of beautiful white flowers, and they start out pink, white flowers, and then red seeds. Now, I did prune this one back, but it still left enough of the older branches to get flowers. Okay, we've got different hydrangeas, some of the panicle hydrangeas in here, and we've got a smoke bush. As you can see, I didn't prune this guy back enough, and I'm probably going to keep it down a little bit. But the one thing about smoke bush, they do bloom on old wood. So the time is when it finishes these smoky plumes, then we'll give it a hard prune. It'll look a little bit shabby, but then next year it'll be a bit bushier. It may not bloom as much, but then it'll bloom really well the year after. We've got some of the upright garden phlox, and we've got salvias here. We've got several different types of salvias. The blue and white forms, I'm just trying to think, and a solid blue form. And you can see these are covered in little pollinators already. So what pollinators like is they like quite calm days. When it's really windy, we had some butterflies yesterday. It was like they were holding on for dear life. So you may not see them on a sunny day that's windy. You might not see the pollinators, but they love blue flowers. And the more blue you can put in your garden, the more you will see all the different pollinators. Yes.
Which one was this, did you say?
This is a salvia. We've got it in the other one, and I'll have to, oh, here it is. Azure Snow. A-Z-U-R-E, Azure Snow. So you can see we've got, the salvias are nice too because they also bloom at slightly different times. You can see those are fully open. These are quite dense and just opening. This variety, which I think is the white variety. No, not variety. This is Violet Riot. It's a little bit later, and that has quite the intense color. This is Snippet Dark Pink, which is a dwarf variety. We also have a couple different varieties over there. There's another late bloomer called Sugar Shack. It's a button bush, and it gets white globe flowers. Very different. This is Laced Up. This is a tall, narrow variety. We've got Black Lace. It's not as common. We don't have it in stock at the moment, but yeah. And right here, another attractor you can see is Illuminati Tower Mock Orange. Take a look at the number of pollinators you see flying around. So it's a little bit more sheltered. It has a white flower, and it has a lot of pollen in it, which they are gonna love. Over here, we've got a Dyervilla. Now Dyervilla, we've got two different varieties. This looks like it might be the reddish one. They get covered in little yellow flowers. Another huge pollinator attractor. That's another of the Weigela. They come in a lot of pinks and reds, dark purple leaves. So here's your groundhog or groundhog aronia that we had. And we have the dwarf forsythia. Long gone are the beautiful yellow flowers. And it's too bad I haven't been able to get the little deutzias. Yuki cherry blossom. They're low to the ground, get covered in blossoms. I don't have any in stock. And that is ginger wine. So there's different colors. Ginger wine gets quite ginger colored. In the sun, you can see. So here's the lungwort, the pinka blue that we were looking at. That is fire resistant. And it's, I think, deer resistant too because of the fuzzy leaves. They don't like that fuzzy leaf. Now here is your black lace elder. I did prune it down. They are quite large. This is the one that will get wide and tall. Laced up over there, you can see is quite a bit smaller, better for smaller areas. This one will get covered. These flowers will open pink, which is nice. In behind is lemony lace. That's the golden lace leaf elder. It seems a bit more compact. I didn't have to prune it as much. But this is Mohican viburnum. You can see, you can feel it. It's got very thick, fuzzy leaves and white flowers. So it's finished blossoming. It now is getting covered in the fruit. One thing I want to show you was the bloomerang lilac. It finished blooming. It will rebloom for us as long as you don't prune it. This is a spirea, the same thing. White is also a big attractor to the pollinators. As you can see, the little bees and flag. This is blue kazoo. And it's called the blue kazoo because the leaves will darken in the summer to kind of a bluey green. There's pink, generally pink, reddish pink, and white. So here's your moonlight masquerade. So you can see it's got actually, that's a nice size. Yeah. This is the Dyer Villa, and you can see this is Kodiak Black, and it's getting covered. These will open up to a cluster of little yellow flowers. The flowers individually are small, but the little cluster is not a bad size, but it will get lots of them. And this is Blue Muffin. This is another viburnum. As you can see, it's just opening up. It's a substantial sized plant, lots of white. If it has a pollinator, it will get blueberries. This is the Festivus Gold. I like the golden nine barks best in a little bit of afternoon shade. If it's too sunny, you might get a little bit burning if it doesn't have enough water when the sun comes out. But white flowers and then red seeds. So it's very nice contrast, very showy. And the last two plants I'll show you, we've got a little burning bush, unforgettable fire. So it's got a nice compact form. The Chardonnay pearls, we don't have it in stock at the moment. We are growing it. So it's golden leaves, and that's another deutzia. So they generally are low to the ground, but spreading lots of blossoms. And this is, I think this is cat's pajamas. Nepeta, cat mint. Sometimes I think Stanley or Mouser's been laying in the middle. But it is due, a lot of these are now due for division, which is on next year's Art of Gardening. We will be showing how to divide our perennials.